the World of Outlaws this week, Bert. The World of Outlaw late models. They open up their season down at the Volusia, I guess, Raceway Park, I think is what it's called, or Speedway Park. It's down in Volusia. Everybody knows where Volusia is. But they had some racing down there. Finally got underneath, I guess, got things going. Bert, I'll let you start there. I know you watched a little bit of that. What'd you get out of? What'd you take away? Give us a little bit of a recap there from down in Volusia.
Well, the first race of the season starts with a little bit of controversy. I mean, what more can you ask for there? I don't know if it's necessarily controversy. I mean, Lanigan he took the blame. I mean, he admitted it was his fault. But basically, he tried to do a slider on Cade Dillard in the first feature of the year. And, if you watching it, he did the slider. He had plenty of room ahead of him, but he just kept drifting and drifting and drifting up higher. And I believe that Lanigan's comments were that he didn't realize that it I don't know if it rubber down and it pulled his car up further than what he thought it was going to. And Dillard had a run on the outside, and they both made contact.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is Bronson was dominant in that whole race, and he kind of jumped the cushion. He had a lap or two there. It's like, what the hell happened? I mean, he was bolted, and then he's all over the racetrack, and then he was bolted again. And he took advantage of that deal because when that all happened, and, you can jump on Dirt Vision or whatever and see that, but he chucked the slider, he hit the brakes, and they, at first glance, to me, Bert, when I saw that the first time, I thought he just went up and spun out. I didn't even realize it didn't even look like there was contact to me. I was watching it on my phone. Maybe that's why. But he kind of got spun around. Well, then after the yellow, because Lanigan brought out the yellow, then, of course, then all of a sudden we saw Dillard's car and the left nose piece was gone, and he kind of tore up the side of the car. I'm like, uh-oh. And when you're on a big track like Volusia, there's a lot of aero. You need a lot of aerodynamics there. You got to have that air pushing down the nose, keeping the car turning, and that little bit ended up being a lot. It was enough to relegate him back to second. So Bronson won that deal. Dillard still with a great run. MB Customs, up in second place on the podium, and the high side tickler, Kyle Strickler, rounding off the podium there. A little bit with Bronson. There's a guy right there. He always seems to run good down there at Speed Weeks in Florida. That's kind of his stomping ground. And
it's his home state.
yeah. The question I have for you is, can this be the year where maybe Bronson can take, the speed and the success he has around Florida and spread that out over the rest of the country? Because to me, as a fan watching him, he's really good there. He's in the hunt, but he goes everywhere else, and he's just he's there. Top 10, but he's not really competing for wins. Can he transition that into more success away from home this year, do you think?
Well, I mean, as any driver gets more experience, you would hope that, they can, that experience will translate into more success at other venues that you're not as familiar with. I think he would have a better opportunity to do that if he was in with the World of Outlaws, just because of the competition from top to bottom. I mean, we've had this discussion in the past. I feel that the competition from top to bottom in the Lucas Oil series is better than what it is in the World of Outlaws series.
And I'm looking for him to maybe not even on the Lucas or World of Outlaws, some of these bigger shows, right? You get to some of these crown jewels and you just never see his name. So right. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot here. Okay. Is he going to transition some of that success? Is he going to be somebody that we see on the podium at least one of those big races this year?
I'm going to say no.
All right, you heard it here first. Bert calling out Kyle Bronson. So Bronson, killer. Bert Lehman says you can't get it done. All right.
I didn't say he can't get it done. I said he won't get it done.
I tend to agree. I really do. And until proven otherwise, the track record's kind of laid itself out. He really hasn't shown me signs of being a podium guy away from home. So hopefully he does. It'd be nice to have another guy that's in the hunt all the time. I guess time is going to tell soon enough. A little bit more on that first night. Ricky Weiss brought out his new car, and originally it was the Weiss Haley, but now they call it the Sniper chassis. Bert had his feelings on that. He's like, "There's already a Sniper chassis. There's a what is it, IMCA stock car over there on your side of the
Yeah.
side of Wisconsin." But he went out there and it just was ugly. I mean, right away he spun out in time trials. It's like Ricky. Yeah, man, who spins out in time trials? I don't know what happened there or whatever. And he wasn't very good in the heat. He wasn't very good in the B. He had to take a provisional. And there was a lot of attrition in the race. He kept his nose clean in the feature, which is good. And he found, got up into 7th place there, which pretty respectable finish after everything, the way the whole night started out. But lacking speed, Bird. That car just didn't look fast.
Well, that's what we talked about all last year with him, though, was poor qualifying efforts. So he'd have to start deep in the field, and yeah, he would get his top 10s, top 5s, but he had to work his ass off to get them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's no question. No, night 2, right? Night 2 comes and night 2 rained out, but not before Ricky Weiss had more problems. And I didn't see what happened. I don't know if he got in the fence or just jumped the cushion or whatever, but I saw some pictures. The whole right side of the car was tore up. I think he hit the concrete there in hot laps. And I don't know if it was slimy or what happened, but things went from 7th is a pretty respectable points night. That's a decent night. But that second night, he was tore up, and then it rained out, which for him was a good thing, because he was going to have to bring out the backup car, which he did on night number 3. He brought out the backup car, and just like normal, he didn't qualify all that great. He ended up starting 15th in the feature. He did get up to a 4th place finish, but who won on night number 3 there, Bert?
The high side tickler, Kyle Strickler.
Mod guy. Another mod guy right there. I tell you, he's fun to watch. He was on it. Now, I tell you, was it Ross Bales, I think, was all over him for the better part of the race and looking good. He fell back to 5th. He ended up breaking. I think he hurt a motor. But the guy that got second in that race, and I got to be honest, I was surprised. I didn't think he had it in him. The Voodoo Child, Black Sunshine, Scott Bloomquist, Bert, was all over him. I mean, he was on the bottom of 1 and 2, and he was faster through 1 and 2, and he would drive up and didn't crowd him, gave him room, and then around the outside tickler would get it off of 3 and 4. Great race there at the end. Scott Bloomquist with a 2nd place finish. Lanigan, he had the bad luck the first night, but he had a 1st place car. He had a podium car for sure on night number 1. He rounds off the podium on night number 2, Bert. He looked pretty darn racy in that rocket.
Yeah, he looked good. And, I mean, getting back to Bloomquist, whether you like him or not, having Bloomquist running in the top 3 is good for the sport. I mean, you don't want to see somebody of his caliber just, being running in the back all the time. So it was good to see him running in the top 3 and, challenging for the lead. I mean, he would actually, like you said, get alongside Strickler and even edge ahead of him in 1 and 2. But yeah, he wouldn't do that slider. I don't think Bloomquist does sliders. Maybe he did when he was younger.
Yeah, he's a momentum guy, and he looked really good. He looked racy on them big tracks, especially where he carries that momentum. He's always been really good at Volusia, Eldora, stuff like that. So, I'm going to ask you this.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing. I mean, did you notice that, he was able to pull up alongside Strickler, even ahead a little bit? Did you notice Strickler then drop down low a few laps in 1 and 2, and then he'd jump up to the high side a couple of laps later? And in the interview afterwards, Strickler said he was just trying to knock Bloomquist's rhythm off a little bit.
Well, he realized that he was faster on the top of 3 and 4. See, Strickler's a phenomenal racer. If you watch a lot of racing, right? There's certain guys, if they run the top all the way around. There's certain guys, if they run the bottom, they're on the bottom. If they run the middle, they're in the middle. But the best, and I'm talking about in all classes, if you watch it, if you're a race fan, keep an eye on this. It'll make it fun for you to watch. The best people, they don't stick to one or the other. So high side tickler, right? He's good on the high side, but he realized, wait a second here, the bottom of 1 and 2 is pretty darn good. So he went down, and where Bloomquist was making up all his ground, he's like, I got to be down there. So he went to the bottom of 1 and 2, top of 3 and 4, and that's just the signs of a talented, aware race car driver. And I'm excited, because you got Kyle Strickler and Ricky Thornton Jr., who are both kind of running for that Lucas of Oil Rookie of the Year. That's going to be intriguing. That's going to be fun to watch between those two drivers. And I think they're both going to win a lot of races this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, normally for the Rookie of the Year battles, to be honest, most years you have one really good driver running for Rookie of the Year, and then you have a couple who say they'll run for Rookie of the Year, but they drop off the circuit by mid-year or whatever. But yeah, with Strickler and Thornton Jr. as battling for the Rookie of the Year this year, that's going to be a fun battle to watch because, not only are they going to battle for Rookie of the Year, but they can win races from the get-go. They've already proven that. We'll get Thornton Jr. later in the show with what he did in Arizona. So, I think we have to make our picks for Rookie of the Year.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
This must be tough for you because they're both mod guys.
It is. But I tell you what, I'm gonna go with Ricky Thornton Jr. to win the Rookie of the Year in the Lucas Oil late models.
That was going to be my pick too.
Yeah. So sorry, you're stuck with Strickler.
I'll take Strickler. That's fine.
I tell you, it's going to be a good battle. I think it's going to come down to just who's more consistent and stays out of trouble because they're both going to win races. They're both going to be in the front, but it's going to be a handful of DNFs or getting themselves in a bad situation that I think is the difference between winning the Rookie of the Year title and not winning the Rookie of the Year title.
Did you notice that was Strickler racing his own equipment at Volusia?
I think he had the Rocket there.
Because it was last year's graphic scheme where he's already had like 3 different graphic schemes for the new team that he's going to be racing for.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got Rockets and Longhorns, right? So he's got 2 different deals, and he wasn't. I shouldn't say he had Rocket. I guess I don't remember for sure if he had a Rocket at Volusia or if he had the Longhorn there. I can't remember. All I remember is he has both, and whatever he had there this past weekend, he needs to bring back there for the Winter Nationals because he was racy.
Well, in his post-race interview, he made the comment that he has the other car up in his in his trailer, and now they need to decide which one they're going to race.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, but I tell you, he's a talented guy, right out of the box, bolted, a guy that didn't get off to the best start. Your defending champ, right? Your reigning champ, Brandon Shepard. Average.
Was he even there?
Yeah, they didn't talk about him very much. He was just, I think he was inside the top 10 both nights, but he just wasn't very good. I'm not going to put too much thought into that quite yet. He's going to be there, but it was quite interesting. Now, another takeaway I had there was, Shane Clanton, a guy that was going to run for the World of Outlaw points, not able to make the call because of COVID, in the hospital with pneumonia from COVID. So hopefully he gets over that soon. Best wishes, of course, from us to Shane Clanton because that's a tough break. Missing 2 nights. I think they have a couple throwaways in there. Bert, I think
I'm not sure how their rules are.
I think they added that this year.
If they don't have throwaways, he has no chance of.
Yeah, so hopefully they have a couple throwaway shows in there. I think they do. I'm not positive because if they don't, his season's over for World of Outlaws. He might end up running Lucas, but I think they have a couple throwaways. Hopefully he gets recovered, gets back behind the wheel here soon.
That's the most important thing is that he, fully recovers from the COVID and the pneumonia. But one other thing I want to point out regarding the outlaw races there, and I should have wrote the guy's name down, but number 54, he was running in the
Brazil?
top a lot. Yes, Brazil. The announcers at the Wild West Shootout were actually talking about him, that he wants to run the entire Outlaw Tour, but he only has one engine.
That I heard the rumor that might make it tough, right? That might make it a little difficult. But he was racy. There was a few people there. Parker Martin, I guess he announced that he's going to follow now. the Rookie of the
Okay.
Year deal for the World of Outlaws. 16 years old. He won a loaded heat race, and he looked good. And, he's a masher. He was inside the top 5 most of the night. He fell back. I think he finished inside the top 10. It'll be interesting to see what he does when the track slicks off, because the track was pretty hammered down, right? And that's why, in my opinion, I think that's part of the reason why Bronson was fast, because he's good when it's hammered down. So we'll see what happens when the tracks start to slick off, the weather gets a little warmer. But just another guy, the rookie of the year deal in the World of Outlaws is going to be pretty interesting too. One last thing on Volusia, away from the World of Outlaw, was a 604 crates. Us northern guys, we had Jeff Provenzino running down there for the Hunt the Front crew. The joiner, whatever the dad is, he's running a car for him. Struggled, hard finding some speed with that thing. I don't think he made the show either night. He was just, car looked tight, wasn't rotating quite like he wanted. You got to carry a lot of momentum and a lot of speed with them crates there, Bert, because you don't have the power to drive out of a push. So I think he's going back down. He's going to run East Bay. It'll be fun to see if he can make some adjustments and run better at East Bay than he did at Volusia. But the guy that, remember, just a week ago, we talked about Michael Page, right? He won his 5th straight Ice Bowl at Talladega. He was the hero. There wasn't no other racing going on, and he left this race here, Bert, as a 0. Did you see all of that happen there?
I didn't see it all happen. Just what you had told me, that after some extensive teching, he was found to have illegal valve spring heights. And I mean, for a crate engine, to me, this isn't something that, oops, I didn't realize that. I mean, you may not have known about it, but somebody knew that was illegal.
and quite frankly, from what I heard, it was thousands. It wasn't, but every little bit makes a difference. And I'm not an engine guy. I'll be the first to admit I don't know squat about engines. But when you're on a big half mile and you got an engine that's really limited on power, the percentage difference is so huge that if you can gain a little here and a little there, you're going to be the class of the field. And so he went from earning a $10,000 payday to Kyle Bronson walked away the $10,000 winner in the 604 crates. So he got the win in that deal. And Bert, the teching was incredible. And I don't want to mention any names or series or tracks or whatever, but a lot of times when I raced, right, they're focused on was soda stickers being in the right spot, wheelbase, wheel openings, the sticker being on your wheels, spoiler sides and sail panels and all this crap that means absolutely nothing. Okay, wheelbase probably does, but the rest of that is just nonsense. Dude, they took apart, I believe it was the top 10 cars, and they even showed they had a tool there to check they were actually checking the cam, right? Checking the duration and all that on the camshafts. I mean, they picked them apart, and they did avid teching down there. So in my eyes, you're racing for 10 grand to win. Let's take your stuff apart and make sure that it's legal. So hats off to the folks down there at Volusia for saying, and I don't know if that was Volusia or the series, because I think it was Cruza late model series, I think is what it was. I was impressed. They actually checked things that mattered, and the winner was found illegal. Was it a big deal? I don't know that. Maybe an engine builder on here or somebody more familiar with that would have better insight than me. But you win on a half mile, horsepower has a lot to do with it. I can tell you that much.